Before I sat down to video this today, my brand new nose ring was flipped upside down inside my nose. It seems to have a mind of its own, really. Friends! Hello! Welcome back to Amethyst Craftworks. I'm Samantha, and I am super stoked to have you back here today because I have got an update on the Stitch and Scream cowl. In case you were unfamiliar, in case you missed my last video about the Stitch and Scream, I will link it up there, and I will link it down below, as well as a link to Altknot's channel. Kayla has released videos for both the January stitch as well as the February stitch. And so that's what I've got an update here for you on. The 2 squares that I have completed for the Stitch and Scream, for the crochet along from Altknots. I am so stoked to be participating. I'm already loving the fact that we are doing like 1 stitch repeatedly for some big squares, because it not only gives you like really a good chance to practice the stitch, but the squares that we are making, I could even show you here, because this is the one that I had from last month. I just want to make sure it's not upside down. But look, it is so big, I can't even get it all in frame. This blanket is going to be fantabulous for sure. And so before I like just babble your head off here first, let me gather the things to show you, and then we're going to get into my update for it. So, indeed, this is my January square, the Spider Stitch square. I am doing a color palette of gray, red, obviously, and black. And I may add something else in there as well, which I will show you here in a sec. But this is the Spider Stitch square. I don't know if my camera is really going to pick up on how lovely, there you can kind of see, like on how lovely and textured this stitch was. This was a yarn goblin though, for sure. I used Red Heart Super Saver in the color Cherry. And this took 1 full skein, so however many yards it is in a skein, like 300 and some, 330 or something like that. 1 full skein and then like a third of another one. This was for sure a yarn goblin, and I was very surprised by that. But I also am not mad at it because I want to use up this cherry. And so this for sure used up a bunch of the cherry, and I need to like keep this stitch in mind. Like, Spider Stitch uses up yarn. If you have yarn you want to use up, go for the Spider Stitch, right? But then we've got the February stitch, and I will show you, I mean, of course I'm going to show it to you. I've got it done in gray. I just want to make sure I'm holding it the right way around. I think it goes this way. It's hard to tell, but I left my tail up here so I could tell, and so it has to be like this. This has to be, yeah, I think that's right. It's a herringbone stitch. It's a half double crochet herringbone stitch. And it gives you these like ridges, essentially. Every 2 rows is kind of like one of these lines. And I love the way it turned out. I wonder if you can even see it. Again, at least gray might be a bit better for my camera to pick up. I think so. It looks fabulous. It feels great. It is much less dense, more stretchy, lighter. It's less dense. I mean, dense is a good word for the spider stitch. This one is much less so. And I also will say wait a minute, where are we here? No, okay, I was holding it right side up. It's like, of course I would hold it upside down. No, I got it, we're good. um, so Kayla's pattern said to do a chain of 80. I did do a chain of 80 to begin with, and it was like this is big, but it was even bigger, you know? It was much bigger, and it was a lot bigger than the spider stitch square, like wide. And I contemplated just rolling with it, just doing every stitch the way Kayla's tutorial said to do it, just follow their tutorial as stated. And it's never really been like explicitly said if the stitch count on these squares matters more than the dimensions, like the actual like measurements on how big they are. But Kayla has mentioned specifically a couple of times to do a 23 inch by 23 inch square, and hasn't so much dwelled on the stitch counts, on the row counts. And so I kind of went in with this one with the assumption that maybe it's more important to have the dimensions be similar than it is to have stitch counts that match their pattern exactly. And so that's sort of what I did. Now, granted, my squares are even bigger than 23 by 23. I think mine turned out, the spider stitch turned out to be like 25 by 25. So that's what I did with the herringbone square as well. But I really like it. I really like this stitch as well. It took some muscle memory going, like to get it clicking in my head. But once it did, I just kind of sailed through it, which is why we are, you know, not even close to the end of the month here. Well, we're kind of close to the end of the month, but we're not at the end of the month. And I already have this big boy finished. So it really went super quick once I got to it. But I did 70 chains instead of 80. And I'm pretty sure I did 52 rows, which gave me a square. It is a bit stretchy. It does sort of bow out a little bit. But I think with other squares and, you know, when this is attached to the January one and so on and so forth, I think it's going to work out just fine. Just fine. But wait, there is one last thing that I wanted to show you here, and it's right at my feet here. Let me grab it. Hold on. So the last thing I wanted to mention here is I'm doing these squares, these first two squares in Red Heart. The gray one is an Ogo, which I bought too many of quite a while ago when Joanne had them on like $1.50 or something kind of clearance. And I've got black as well. I have red in the Ogo, and I have cherry red in like skein form. I have too much cherry. So these are my colors. But then I was going through my yarn and I discovered that I had these. These are Uptown Worsted Spirit Stripes. Come on, camera. There, I guess you can kind of see it. Is it this side that it always shows up? Much better. It's this side. These yarns came from Abigail, from a Happy Mail from Abigail, which I was so touched by, you know, just in general. And these are perfect for my color scheme, right? It's gray and black. It's stripy. I think it would be super fun to work these in with the regular gray and the red and then the black, right? You get it. This yarn is nicer than Red Heart Super Saber. It's just a 4-weight, medium worsted weight. Pretty sure it's just acrylic. Yep. 100% acrylic. It feels much squishier. It's a universal yarn, so it's much nicer. And it's not quite as thick, at least from what I can tell. Red Heart is on the thick side of a 4. These seem to be thin. I think it's also, are we anti-pill? We are. It's anti-pilling acrylic, so it's like squishy and soft and much more premium than Red Heart Super Saver is. But again, like I was saying, I think Kayla's point in the patterns is not so much the stitch count, is not so much the gauge. It's just the width and the height of the squares that you make. So if I'm using a 4-weight acrylic that's maybe a little thinner than Red Heart, it'll work out in the end as long as I make the squares that I make out of these the same dimensions, measurements-wise, right? At least, gosh, I really hope so, because I think these are going to look fabulous together with the gray and the black and the red. And then these, it's going to be superb. I'm going to love it. And so I think the March square, whenever that comes out, I think I'm going to do them in do that one in these, and the Universal Spirit Stripes. So Abigail, thank you so much for, for these. I can't wait to add them into my Stitch and Scream Cal. I think it's going to look fabulous. And I am so stoked to see what this like crazy, ridiculous blanket looks like. I'm so into it. I love it. And I love like repetitive patterns like this. So doing one stitch just over and over, even if it's a new stitch kind of pattern, so much fun. I really enjoyed it. I'm enjoying using my 5.5 furls hook, which I think is here. Yep, we got my Pisces hook. I've got my little coffin. I guess I could hold it up to you. I got this off of Amazon. It's just like a little coffin shaped, I think it was for makeup brushes, and I could have put makeup brushes in here, but I was like, this is perfect to hold crochet hooks until I'm ready to find a clear mug, coffee mug to put them in so you can really see them. And then I can transfer my makeup brushes or pens and pencils and stuff into here. But I thought this was super cute. And I had an idea for one of you lovely, lovely people to put my fancy crochet hooks in a clear coffee mug. And so I'm going to. But for now, this will do until I can get around to finding a mug at somewhere, Bed Bath & Beyond or Target, Walmart, somewhere. How did I get on this tangent? Oh, because the furls hook was in here. So my furls hook is in here. Anyway, they're sitting there. And I am really enjoying this crochet along. Are you joining in? Are you liking it? What colors are you doing? Are you doing red and black like Kayla is? Like I'm doing? Let me know. Leave me a comment. I really enjoy like simple one stitch over and over kind of patterns, of course. And I also really enjoy like excitedly waiting every month to see what's happening, to see what's new, to like work on my thing. Like I'm really stoked for it, and I'm like so disappointed in myself that I've never really participated in one of these sorts of crochet alongs. Crochet alongs for like the Movie Marquee, of course, I have done. I'm currently hosting even. I get to pick the movie for the next month, you know? But this kind of crochet along where it really is a mystery and you don't know what's coming, it's so much fun. I'm really enjoying it. And so I'm really excited that Kayla is doing it, that Altknots is hosting it. And I cannot wait to see March. And I want to know what you're doing. So if you're participating, leave me a comment down below. Look for all the links as well down in the description for Kayla's channel, my previous video, Kayla's videos on the stitch pattern and the like introduction and special info and all that stuff that you need to participate. And yeah, leave me a comment if you're joining in, and please subscribe today if you haven't already, because I would love to have you join us here. And until the next time I've got some kind of update on some kind of project for you, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you for joining me. Take care. Goodbye.